Everybody, welcome back to Nerds Make Sense. As always, I'm Josh.
Hey guys, I'm Ted.
And today we're going to be talking about, well, the specific of the topic is not one of my favorites, obviously, but the general topic, which is Star Trek, is one of my favorite things of all time. As a matter of fact, I ever since I was a little kid, I can remember, watching episodes of Star Trek, watching the movies as they came out, and the older movies, obviously, because both my dad and my mom are fans of the series and the movies, so I've grown up with it. But today we're going to actually be talking about the recent news of the cancellation of the next Star Trek movie in the Kelvin Timeline. Now, I know there are some Star Trek fans who haven't seen any of the Kelvin movies, refuse to see any of the J.J. Abrams movies or the movies inspired by J.J. Abrams. And when they heard the news, there was probably a rejoicing on the scale of what we see at the end of Star Wars Episode 6. Toppling over the statue of Palpatine and stuff like that. But I wanted to talk about what this means for the franchise going forward as a whole. And how this is actually it's a bigger impact than people realize. Because here's the thing. The Star Trek that we know is gone. It's not coming back because why? Sure, there are still diehard fans out there, and there will be new fans of the older stuff that come along because they're bred by the fans of the older stuff. But it's the people who enjoy the original series, the movies with the original series cast. Even Next Generation, Deep Space Nine, Voyager, and the fans of Star Trek Enterprise and their and the Next Generation movies, we're a dying breed. We really are. And unfortunately, at some point, we, like the dinosaurs, are going to disappear from the face of the earth. And it's really disappointing to see the franchise that I love so much fail right now. Because here's the thing, and this is probably, if we gain any significant following in the future, this is probably going to lose us a few followers. I actually enjoyed the Kelvin Timeline movies. I personally enjoyed them a lot. I thought they were... Yes, I did think there were some things that were weird. I wish there were some things that they didn't do. But overall, I thought they were a great story and a great retelling, and I thought there was so many different ways they could now go with this story. And, exploring so many different things, especially the fact that it looked like their technology in these movies was so much more advanced than what we see in a lot of the older stuff. And, some of that can be explained, obviously, with the difference in the timelines. But also some of it is, creative differences. The advances in CGI technology that we have today that we didn't have available 20, 30, 40 years ago when this stuff was originally coming out. Actually, I think it's some of the original stuff is over 50 years old at this point. But it's just, it's like I said, it's really disappointing to see the fact that some people are just so they're almost bigoted in a way to the new stuff that it has essentially caused the failure of the current iterations of the Star Trek franchise. Because from what I understand, Star Trek Discovery, the latest television series that's currently on, is also not doing so well. The fan support is simply not there, and I think it needs to be there. I think we need to get over this idea of what's been done before and move on to what now can be done with the advances in cinematography, CGI, special effects that are available to us now. So you don't like the way the new Klingons look. Get over it. It's about the story. So you don't like the fact that it's a woman leading the cast in the new Star Trek television series. Get over it. It's about the story. It's about damn time we had a woman other than frickin' Janeway leading the story. So, getting back to the cancellation of the Star Trek movie, well, of course, in recent months, we heard that Chris Hemsworth, who we all know as Thor from the MCU, who also played George Kirk, the father of Jim Kirk, in Star Trek 2009, at the beginning of the movie, had been in talks to come back and play the character again for the new movie. And unfortunately, the talks fell through with him. Same with Chris Pine, who plays Jim Kirk, George Kirk's son, and arguably the main protagonist of all three films so far. But talks also fell through with him, and they both walked away. So there were some talks of possible recasting, but apparently without those two, or at least without Chris Pine, there's just no chance of doing the movie. And Paramount has permanently, or at least not permanently, but indefinitely shelved the movie, which essentially means it's been canceled. And we're not going to get that fourth Star Trek movie, which, it's like I said, I enjoyed it. I thought the way they were doing things was great. I don't know. What do you think?
I guess like you're right. I feel like people need to. It goes for a lot of movies that have been on for a long time, and things happen. Things don't happen. Times change.
Yeah.
Things need to change for the good. Go in a direction that a lot of core fans might not like. Like, I know this has nothing to really compare to, but for me, I know the show Pokemon has drastically went in a different direction.
Yeah.
In a sense, like, animation wise, they went through many animations, a lot of stuff like that. And as a core fan, I understand that times changing, shows need to go in different, movies need to go in different directions.
Yeah.
If it went in a complete different direction where it tanked and they kept going with it, then I probably won't follow it. But with in this case, it didn't.
No. Yeah, the most recent movie, Star Trek Beyond, they said it underperformed. It didn't do as well as they thought that it was going to do, which led to budget cuts, which is part of the reason why Chris Pine and Chris Hemsworth walked away. And, I get it, when you're a big-time actor and you've got other prospects, you want more money to do a certain thing, but you also have to understand the kind of fan base that you're essentially acting to. You are a character that's been well established for years, But anyways, I digress. I like your analogy, but also you can even do the same thing with the Dragon Ball series. It's not the same that it was.
Oh yeah, it's not the same.
It's changed. Animation styles have changed. Characters have changed. The story, not everybody was happy with the whole Super Saiyan God and Super Saiyan Blue thing right off the bat.
Yeah.
And there probably are still some people are like, oh, that's not my Dragon Ball.
Yeah.
Like, okay. Why not appreciate it for what it is?
Yeah, Yu-Gi-Oh! Went through the same thing. They're a card gaming essential.
And it's still got a big following.
Yeah, even though it's like a lot of people are split on it.
Yeah, we don't like everything that they've done with the card game, but...
But you know what? That's a good example. A lot of people don't like Yu-Gi-Oh!, but they still buy the cards. They still try it, they still do it, and they still play it. And that's the same thing with Star Trek. I don't think that's what like Star Trek sounds like what you're explaining. Like, a lot of people don't like what it is, but they're still gonna go see it. They're still gonna
You can even say the same thing with the Star Wars universe,
Star Wars,
It's the same thing.
Yeah, every universe, every show, every book series, everything goes through it, you know. But if, like what you said, and they cut it off, and then it has like different things that go wrong with it because of it, then yeah, like cutting off a movie, because you could say movies lead to shows, right?
Yes, it definitely does.
If you cut off a movie, then a lot of people aren't gonna want to go watch the shows because they got canceled, and the shows are gonna diminish, and then then it's gonna go backwards, and it's gonna stop. Just like how Star Wars was before the Force Awakens. I mean, they had a huge following, but but they didn't hard cut the movies off, and then a lot of people there were still the core fans, and then new movies came out, and then newer fans came in. I mean, a lot of newer fans didn't know about the old stuff, so
exactly. It's the whole reboot of both the Star Wars and the Star Trek franchise was to bring in new life, new fans into the already existing fan base.
That's great already, yeah.
Yeah, look, I know change is difficult. Sometimes it can feel like they're taking away what made it great for you, but here's a chance for you to introduce something that's far more action, fast-paced to a younger audience who already doesn't have a long attention span. Mm-hmm. Most of the time, especially since they're fucking live tweeting the biggest moments of the movie. They're not even paying attention to the fucking screen. Their noses are down in their fucking phones. And it's a way for you to introduce something that you love, a franchise that you love, to a new audience, and then take them back and show them what made that franchise so great in the first place. Mm-hmm. Because here's the thing. For both Star Trek and Star Wars, they would not be there without each other. But you know what? The movies have pushed each other. The movies and the TV shows and the various iterations of each franchise have pushed each other to go further, to explore different ideas, to try different things. And I know we are currently in this movement of putting females in more and more lead roles, which is great. It's awesome. Sometimes it's not the greatest move, but we are currently in this cultural shift where women can actually be lead roles in action TV series and movies, like with Rey with Star Wars, and what's her name? The lady from Walking Dead that went over to Star Trek for Sonequa something. I can't think of her last name.
I don't know who that is.
Oh shit. This is killing me. Sonequa Martin Green. She plays Michael Burnham on Star Trek Discovery. And she played, what was her character's name in The Walking Dead? This will jog your memory. Sasha. She played Sasha. She was oh my god, what was his name? Abram, something like that. The red-haired guy.
Oh, Abraham.
Abraham. She was the one that was in love with him for a while. Was it Tyrell or Tyrone or whatever his name was? His little sister.
Okay. I know who. Yeah, I know who it is. Yeah, okay.
Yeah, but I mean, she's a great actress. She did a great job in Walking Dead. I thought she did a great job in the first. I haven't seen the second season of Star Trek Discovery. I haven't seen any of the episodes yet. Not because I don't want to, but I've got other things I'm doing right now. But she was great in season 1. I thought she did a great job of being a human that was raised on Vulcan, and obviously she's gonna adapt some Vulcan mannerisms. For those of you who don't know, Vulcans are a alien race who use their high mental capacities to control their emotions. They seem emotionless to the outside world, but their emotions are actually so strong that they have to keep them under control, otherwise they go insane. Which really, if you think about it, is kind of complex and crazy situation. But yeah, so she adapts some of the Vulcan mannerisms, but I thought she did a great job in season 1. Sure, they're changing up some things that were never either stated or they never even had any kind of idea of in the earlier shows, which is pissing a lot of people off. But I mean, so what? As long as they don't sit there and go the Akira Toriyama route and freaking rewrite history, 17 different times. I mean, look at how many times they've done time travel in Star Trek. Of course, the timeline's going to get fucked up here and there. But I mean, one of the biggest things that the cancellation of this movie means to the franchise is the fact that it's less exposure to the outside world, which means it's going to be less relevant to the outside world. Yes, you've got Discovery, and you've got a couple other shows down the line. You've got the return of Patrick Stewart as Captain Picard in his own new show that's coming. I don't know exactly how far off it is, but I know it's already in development. They're already working on it. So, it's not all bad for the series, but the problem is anytime you decrease exposure to the audience, you become less relevant. We were, you and I, we just did the Lord Slug episode, and we were talking a lot about Piccolo. Look what happened when, Piccolo started getting less screen time. What happened? He became less relevant. They kept pushing him further and further to the side. And, and you see it with characters and other shows and other franchises. When you don't get exposure, you become less relevant. And so this is a big blow to the Star Trek franchise. And it's kind of the same thing with the cancellation of the Star Wars stories that were planned for both Boba Fett and Obi-Wan Kenobi on the Disney side of it. And it's less exposure for Star Wars, meaning it's never going to become totally irrelevant. And I don't think that's the way. I don't think Star Trek will ever become completely irrelevant. But it's going to be less relevant to more people when you don't have the constant exposure like a new movie coming out or people talking about the new show or other works that come along with it, like books and comics and stuff like that. So it's just, but like I said, there's it's not all bad for the Star Trek universe right now, for the Star Trek fandom. Like I said, we do have the Picard show coming. I believe I've heard, I don't know if they're just rumors or if they're actually planning on acting on it, about a type of Star Trek anthology show that might be more like some of the old stuff, and we'll see how well that does in the modern era. I guess one thing that I can kind of talk about real quick is probably one of the biggest reasons Discovery's not getting the exposure that it should is because of CBS putting it on their online platform only with CBS All Access, and you actually see a lot of companies going that way. And that's for a lot of people who already have Hulu and Netflix and Amazon Prime. We don't want to shell out another $5 to $15 for these new websites or these new streaming services. When you've got so much collaboration already with other streaming services, like you see CBS shows on Netflix all the time. You see Fox and what is it? Fox, I think ABC on Hulu all the time. The same shows. The CW shows are always the new well, they come on Netflix after the season's over. but the new episodes are always up the next day on Hulu. So for my shows like Supernatural or Arrow or Flash, you know, if I want to watch them while I'm at work, I've got access to them. Why would I pay for the CW's streaming service when I already have access to it? Yeah. Now, obviously they could always go with the way of, canceling their deals with these other sites and saying, hey, you've got to come over to ours exclusively. But you're going to lose, you're not going to get. The problem with that is people are going to pick and choose. They're going to pick and choose which streaming services, and they're going to choose them by what offers them more. So, like for me, a lot of shows that I watch is, I've got them recorded on my DVR. And then whatever else I can't get on my DVR because either the time slot's already taken by a show that I'm recording, or it's just not there anymore. It's not on TV anymore, and I'm trying to catch up with like past seasons or something. I use Netflix or Hulu.
Even with me, and like when I want to watch anime, a lot of us started watching anime off like YouTube and other sites, and then now there's Verve and Crunchyroll, Funimation, and you gotta pick and choose what you want from there because that Funimation canceled their thing with Crunchyroll, so you can't get that's the Funimation stuff you want on Crunchyroll. So do you want to go with Funimation or does Crunchyroll
or Verve?
Or Verve?
You can't. You have to go through their Funimation now.
Funimation now,
the app or their website.
Yeah, or their streaming service. So so people will pick and choose because like I don't want to pay $10 for a platform that I can get cheaper on Funimation with more stuff and what I want. Yeah,
and like with the Dragon Ball Super stuff, I don't need to see it as it's coming out. Why? When in a couple months it's going to be the season or volume or whatever you want to call it, the arc is going to be on Blu-ray and DVD, and I could just wait a couple months and it's going to be there for me. So with stuff like anime and stuff like that, it's easier for me to wait and then buy it all in one bulk and then go from there than sit there and having to pay $10, $15, $20 a month for 4 episodes of whatever I want to watch, if it's coming out on a weekly basis. So obviously the CBS All Access thing with Star Trek Discovery is a big detractor. It's a big reason why people aren't watching it, and it is hurting the show. But also it's the fans. It's the fans of the older Star Trek. And it's so many people. I know people who grew up with the original series and refused to watch Next Generation, but when they finally watched Next Generation, they loved it. And then with every iteration of the show, with Deep Space Nine, with Voyager, with Enterprise, it was the same thing. For the longest time, my dad, he almost refused to watch it or didn't care to watch Enterprise, but when he started finally, and here's the thing, my dad loves the original series more than anything. Well, I mean, more than any other Star Trek. And of course, he liked Star Trek: The Next Generation as well. But he had no interest in watching Enterprise. But when he finally started sitting down and watching it, he loved it. And then within a few months of seeing all the episodes on the Sci-Fi Channel, he bought all 4 seasons on DVD and still has them to this day. So, this is going to be me, a true Star Trek fan, pleading to the Star Trek community and for our subscribers who aren't subscribers and listeners who aren't Star Trek fans. If you know a Star Trek fan, if you know that they're refusing to watch the movies or the new TV shows, please have them listen to this. This is coming from a true Star Trek fan, born, raised Star Trek lover. Give this new stuff a chance. Go see it before you make a judgment on it. Please. We need to bring Star Trek back to life because it's been gone for too long. There were certain things that caused it to die out, but we need Star Trek to live. We need it to grow because there's so much more you can do with the franchise now with the advancements in CGI, special effects, and cinematography. So I implore you, please, just give it a chance. And I think that's just about all I'm going to say on that one. So I really hope that it can move on from here and the franchise will survive. I really do look forward to the future of Star Trek, and I hope if we don't get the Kelvin Timeline movies back on track, then maybe we can, maybe there can be something else to take its place here soon. So I appreciate everybody for taking their time to listen to this one. This was something that's very personal to me. It's a franchise, like I said, that I've grown up with. I was born into, essentially, and I love dearly. But please, open your hearts, Star Trek fans. That's all I have to say. Open your hearts and your minds. All right, guys. So that's about all I have for that one. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. You can email us at nerdsmakesense@yahoo.com. And until the next one, we'll see you later.
See ya.